Hi, and welcome to this week's class. Today the theme is going to be strong back, soft front. So meaning the posterior chain, which is something we don't really consider because we're always front facing in our bodies, and having a nice soft front. So it's just really good to find a bit of balance between the front and back of you, and you'll hear things about the posterior chain time and time again. But how do you actually activate it? So we're going to have a little look at little strategies that we can use today in order to do that. Okay, so first things first, if you could come and lie on your mats, you're going to get yourselves comfortable, lying on your back, your knees are bent, feet flat on the ground, and just take a moment here just to notice what it's like to be at the back of your body. So just really feeling the back of your body softening down into the mat, letting go of any tension that you might be gripping onto. Pay attention to how your lower back is landed, the back of your shoulder blades and the back of your head. And just taking nice big inhales through your nose. And on the exhale, just letting go and seeing if you can sink a little heavier into the ground without holding on to any tension. So every time you sink, it's not an opportunity to grip on with the back of your body or imprint with your pelvis. You're just encouraging things to let go and loosen. Okay. You're going to walk your feet so they are aligned up with your sit bones. And we're just going to start with some pelvic clocks between 12 and 6. So imagining you've got a clock face on your lower belly. 12 o'clock is your navel and 6 o'clock is your pubic bone. And you're just going to find your feet into the mat, start to curl through to 12, thinking of pubic bone curling towards your chest. And then releasing and lengthening all the way down to 6, thinking of your tailbone towards your heels. Now, if you've been following the last few classes, you'll recognize this one. This is kind of your bread and butter. And we have broke it down before, so you're just really thinking of all the things you already know about articulating through the lower back, using the feet rather than the glutes to find that curl, pubic bone through to chest, and then lengthening, letting go, tailbone diving towards your heels. And whatever's happening through the rest of your spine, you're letting that follow. So try not just to isolate that area. Your pelvis is connected to your spine, which is connected to your ribs, which is also connected to your head. So if you do feel this slight pull through your head, let it be. Try not to just grip and hold on, keeping everything else still. Let that pelvis just rock forward and back, and let that spine follow. And thinking of inhaling as you travel down to 6. Find space in your ribs, space in your sit bones. Exhale, press and curl, pubic bone to chest, belly button to spine. Narrowing and gathering everything into the center. Let's take a couple more. Inhale wide, and exhale, curl, pubic bone through to chest. All right, come and land back in the center. And now we're purposely going to go down to 6 again. So taking that inhale, this is your prep. But the next time you exhale and curl, I want you to keep thinking of standing into the feet. And we're going to lift into our bridge. So you're going to think of your hips traveling up, knees traveling over your toes, using the back of your body. So this is your posterior chain coming on. You're thinking of the back lifting you and the front lengthening out. You're then going to take an inhale at the top of your bridge. Use your exhale, hold on to your bridge with the back of your legs. Just start to soften through the front of your body. Work your way down your spine. And then as you meet your tailbone on the mat, allow everything to let go, release, and widen. Ready to press and curl again. So pressing through the feet, continue that line, pubic bone to chest, knees over toes. Loads of length in the front. Now, just because the back of your body is alive doesn't mean that lower back starts to arch you. It's all about how the muscles are activated in the back of your legs to keep you up. So take your spine out the equation. Make sure you're in one downward slope right from the kneecaps through the front of the body, so you're not overflaring in your front ribs. And then use your breath to travel down. And the slower you go, the more controlled you are, the more you'll feel muscles keeping you up. So you don't want to rush through anything. Really take your time here. Not only are you activating the back of your body, but it is a little bit of TLC for your spine, especially if you've not had much movement in your back today. We're going to take one more. This time as you approach the top of your bridge, I want you to pause there. Okay, so you're at the top of your bridge, you're feeling strong in the back of your body. You're just going to shift the weight down into the right foot, so much so that the left leg becomes really light and you're going to float the left leg up to tabletop, trying not to dip in the hips. You're then going to take that left foot down, really plant it into the floor. As that travels down, you're going to float your right leg up to tabletop. Okay, and the strategy in your spine doesn't change. So the moment you feel like the lower back is overworking, it means you need to come out of your bridge and reset. Otherwise, just keep marching. And notice the more that you use the back of the leg that's stabilizing, the easier it is to float that other leg off. Losing my words. Okay, both feet are down onto the mat. Both feet are evenly pressing down. Take a big inhale. And exhale. Start to meld away through the spine again. All the way back down. And then take that release at the bottom. Alright, so from here, thinking of how we challenge that single leg, I want you to lift your left leg back to tabletop. And then feel free to walk this right foot a little closer to the center, just to help you out a little bit. Now, as long as that foot isn't really far away and it is close enough for you to stand into, you shouldn't get any cramp. So some people report cramp, but bring that foot a little closer in and that will help you, okay? Feel the sense of the back of your arms down. You're going to use the same strategy, so curling pubic bone to chest, stand down through that right foot, keep sending that right knee over your toes, lifting in the right hip, inhale at the top, exhale, don't come crashing down, still take your time, I know it's difficult for this one leg. As you approach your tailbone, release and land. Let's take 3 more like that, so curling, really find that hip on this right side. Try not to compensate, and then softening. If the hip doesn't want to go up, just make it a small bridge. Don't overcompensate in your lower back and your front ribs. Remember, you've got the back of your arms to help you out if you need a little bit of something to help lifting you up. Final one here. Use your breath. Exhale, curl. Up you go. Inhale at the top. And exhale, travel back down. Keep the back of the leg alive. Whew. And then you're going to release that left foot back down to the ground. Okay. Same thing on this left side. So walk the left foot slightly closer to your center. Float your right leg up to tabletop. Remember to bring it slightly closer in towards you as well. If you feel like it's really far away, find that curl in your lower back. Start to lift through your hips. Send this left hip high. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out as you start to drop down through your spine. Okay. Release. Same again. Now this right side is just floating. Try not to do too much work. Try not to let that right hip drop heavy. Hips stay even in height. And softening back down. And check in that you're not hunching the shoulders to the ears, so keep the space there. It's not the shoulders that lift up to help, it's the back of the arms pressing down. Let's take one more on this side. Use that inhale at the top. And exhale. Down we come. All the way. Take that right foot to the floor. And just relax here. Reorganizing your lower back if you need to. If you did feel like your lower back did a bit too much there, and you couldn't avoid it, just hug your knees into your chest right now. And just make sure that that lower back and those sit bones spread wide so you can feel that sense of switching all of those muscles that might have engaged off. And you can just rock side to side, thinking of really rolling across the base of the spine. And then we're going to slowly release the feet, back down to the mat, arms come down. Okay, let's do something nice, still working the posterior chain, but having that sense of length through the body, okay? So, I'd like you to take your left leg out long, so you're reaching it all the way down to the end of your mat. Make sure as the leg goes long, you haven't then started to go into a 6 o'clock in your lower back. So, you're keeping your pelvis in neutral, you're keeping your lower back anchored. Arms are going to go slightly wider than your mat now, and then make sure that this right foot is close enough, very similar to the bridge, that you can stand down into the foot, okay? You're just going to start to press down into that right foot, send that right knee over your toes, like you would in a bridge, but then allow your hips to roll over to your left side. Really open and elongate in that right hip. But at the same time, you're feeling that drop and that length and width through the front of your pelvis. Take an inhale, and then use your exhale, roll the ribs back to the mat. Let that right thigh sink back into your sit bone, and just release at the bottom back to the center. Same again. Now just make sure that this right knee isn't coming across to the left. So you're not rolling in on the right foot, you're standing down into it. It's still traveling out and beyond you, and you're just opening down and sinking into your left hip. Inhale, and exhale, soften. So it's a similar sort of action to the single leg bridge in terms of what that right side is doing. But we're getting that sense of rotation, and don't worry if the head rolls slightly with you. Let the head follow the path of the ribs. And softening back down. Last one here. So if that single leg bridge was too much for you today, this is quite a nice prep for it. Just to get that sense of one leg doing a bit more work. And you've not got any load in your body as you do this, because you're using the floor to help support you. As you land back in the center, you're going to send your left foot in, bend the left knee, right foot long and away, same thing. Left foot presses down, you start to spiral and twist over towards that right side, but keep traveling like that left thigh away, away, away. The knee is tracking over your second and third toes, it isn't coming across the midline of your body. You inhale, and you exhale and roll back. One thing I didn't mention on the other side is what's happening through this left shoulder. So as you're standing through your left foot and twisting over to the right, of course you're going to go heavier in your right shoulder, but we're trying not to lose this left shoulder too. So keep your left shoulder completely flattened down. And then we get that sense of pull right from the left knee up through the left side of the body. And release. Couple more here. Can you think of standing into your heel more than your toes? That will help also activate the back of your left leg. And then let's make this next one your last one. Really expanding the front of the pelvis, big stretch, and then releasing down all the way, and you come to land. Okay. Alrighty, so feet come back onto the ground, knees are both bent again. This time we're going to interlace your fingers and take your hands behind your head, and we're going to go into a little bit of a chest lift series, okay? So I want the focus to really be on how long we can get the back of the body and let the front of the body just do its thing. So try not to really crunch and squeeze at the front, just let the back be the thing that's opening up. Okay, so we're going to take an inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, start to travel the ribs down, turn them up and in, opening your back, feel your shoulder blades lift off the mat, and then release and inhale, back down again. So that exhale at the beginning is going to really help to turn and curl you up. Your head is not being pulled by your hands. So you're keeping your hands and your head meeting one another. You're not trying to over pull at the head. That's when you'll start to feel it in your neck. So just let that path of your spine help your head come up, and you're just following that path. You're not doing anything extra there, okay? Now the next time you curl up, I want you to pause at the top. You're then going to reach through the back of the arms towards the edge of the thighs. And you're just going to find that sense of, as you reach through your fingers, can you get a little higher in your chest curl? Hands then go back to your head. Really support your head, and then lay all the way back down again. Same again. Turn through those ribs. Pick the head up. Big curl through your chest. Then reach long through your hands. Squeeze and lift. Feel that sense of the back of the arms lifting. And then hands go to head. And then you release back down again. So, we're opening in the back of the body, but you're also finding that sense of pressure down through the back of your arms, and that helps to curl you a little higher. Hands then go to head and come back down. Woo, it's quite intense. The next time you're up, I want you to pause at the top. As the hands reach, hold it here. We're going to take some little pulses in the back of the arms. So you're squeezing the air away, feeling that sense of squeeze through your armpits. Top of the arms are engaging. It's almost like that air is something physical, and you're pushing with your arms. You're keeping in your chest curl. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands to head before you lay back down, and then you can release all the way back to your mat. Big breath in. You can open and expand your elbows wide, open in your chest. Let your ribs flare for the first time in the class. If you're a rib flarer like me, this will feel really nice just to extend in the front of the body. And just be here. All right, really good. Okay, so from here, we're going to up the ante a little bit and get the lower abdominals involved. So I'd like you to bring your arms either side of your body again. We're going to be lifting one leg to tabletop. Just make sure that you haven't slipped into that arch in your lower back. And you're then going to lift the other leg up to meet it at tabletop. Now, keep the legs here and interlace the fingers back behind the head. Just a little bit more chest curl. Now, if this is a lot of work from the front of the flat thighs and the front of your hips, feel free to just drop at your shins. Else, if you want a challenge, keep the shins high. Hands go to head. We're going to be doing a similar thing. So you're going to start to curl your chest towards your thighs. This time, you're going to start to push both thighs slightly away, only as far as your lower back permits. Knees back into chest, and release your head and your neck down. Same again. So exhale, lift. Inhale, thighs travel away. Doesn't have to be all the way down to the mat. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, back down. Keeping with this rhythm of up, slightly away, get the lower abdominals on. In and down. Now really make sure that lower back isn't fighting you. You want to keep stable. So you'll notice on me, my feet aren't getting all the way down to the mat. I'm also not extending behind my knees. I'm keeping that arc and that right angle with my thighs. Let's just go for 3 more. Inhale away, exhale, pull those legs in. Inhale back down, last 2. Last 1. Holding the legs away, ever so slightly, reach the arms past the thighs again. Those little pulses of the arms, feeling the air, feeling the armpits. Keep breathing. We've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands go to head. Lay back down. Drop the knees to the chest. And then find the front of your kneecaps and just start to roll your thighs in your hips. So we're opening the legs up. And we're creating these little circles. And try and make it your arms guiding your legs. So you're letting hip flexors switch off. So, if your core doesn't like to naturally come on, which you'll be surprised, if we sit a lot for work, things switch off a lot. You may have felt that in your hip flexors, and you may have felt that in your quads. So this is just your chance to get them off. And then we're reversing those circles, so sweeping around, drawing the thighs in and sending them away with the arms. They're fully supported. They're not having to create this movement themselves. Really massage that thigh bone around the hip. Couple more. And last one here. Alright, lifting the shins high again. Hands come to the back of your thighs. Now I want you to get that sense of the back of the thighs pushing into the hands. As they push away, let your head and your neck peel off the mat. Curl through your chest. Keep sending your feet all the way down towards the end of the mat until eventually you come and sit on top of your sit bones and you're up tall in this seated position. Alright, so good. We got into the core. We've started to explore the back of the legs. Now we're going to come into side lying. So I'd like you to come and lie on your left side. You're going to stack the hips one on top of the other. We're going to have the knees bent. And you're just going to rest your head in your underneath hand. So bend the underneath elbow. Okay. I'd then like you to take your top hand to your top hip. And you're going to have this sense of length. So notice how you can manually use that top hand to find a bit more space between your bottom ribs and your pelvis. Now what comes with that length is also this sense of lift through the underneath side of your body. So you're having this sense of connection already. You're not just giving into the floor. Okay, that is really important. So this whole underneath side, right from arm through to leg, is pushing the mat away. Top hand on top hip. And we're just going to start to lift this leg up, keeping it bent and bringing it back down. So nothing is changing in the angle, no turning in the hip, just using the outer edge of the leg to push against gravity and then drawing that leg to softly land back down. Okay. Now the idea behind this is that every time that leg goes up, the ribs aren't sinking back down into that mat, so you're keeping connected. And it's almost as if both legs are just pushing away from one another. Yes, the bottom leg has something to actually physically push, but imagine that the air. This is what a lot of the posterior chain stuff has to be. If you've not got that feedback to push against, you've got to really imagine that you're pushing against something to get the right muscles to activate. Okay, the next time the leg is at hip height, keeping this hip, this knee and this hip bent, you're going to start to sweep the leg forward. Let the sit bone open, let the back of the leg give out. And then you're going to start to open at the hip. Keep that right angle. And think of pushing the air with the back of the thigh. So you're really extending in the quad, extending in the hip. Nothing changes in the upper body. If you start to tip forward, you've gone too far. You make it little and you get that true hip extension. Keep going like this, forward and back. And keep the control in the leg. So no use just bashing it forward and back, swinging it around. How integrated can this movement be from your trunk? And to get that sense of activation, you've got to imagine that you're pushing. Really push with the back of this thigh, push with this glute. That's what's going to give you more hip extension. Couple more. And make this your last one. So last time coming in front, last time pushing back, and then pause once you're back here. Little pulses back and back. Nothing's changing in the spine. Keeping belly button and spine connected, just opening from your hip. Squeezing with the back of the glute. You've got another 7 and 6. Keep squeezing. 5, last 4, 3 more, 2, and 1. Okay, if you can, I want you to reach your hands for either your foot or your shin, and you're just going to do a little hip stretch. Really think of curling the pubic bone to the chest, tucking everything under. If that's too much for you, just come out of it. Just having that top leg landing, and just be with your body. Else keep that connection between your foot and your hand, really extending in the front of the quad. Okay. All right, letting that leg land, pushing yourself up, swing the legs around, and let's go for the other side. Resting the head into the underneath hand. Now, really important that your setup is already square. You're not twisted in your body. And then from here, manipulate. Really use that top hand to find length in both sides of the body. And then let's start to lift that top leg. Really fighting the air with the outer edge of the leg. Keep pushing down with the underneath leg, the underneath arm, but keep lifting the underneath ribs away. Trying not to externally rotate. I think I just did it as I was distracted. So try your best not to open out at the hip. We're keeping everything aligned, a little bit more functional. And it's possible you may feel there's more in your stabilizing glute, which is not a bad thing. You've got that physical feedback there. So as long as you feel like both legs are pushing away from one another, that's the main thing here. Okay. 2 more. 1 more hip. Keep that leg at hip height. Let's just take that leg forward and back. And it's only going to the range that your hip permits, not your body. So if you're a big mover, this is going to feel really controlled and precise. You're going to want to swing your body around to create more movement. Try and keep it really on balance. Okay. Keep fighting against the air behind you. Don't lose the connection of your belly button and your spine. We've got 3 more. Last couple. Final one here. Squeeze and reach back. And then you're going to reach. Oh, sorry, you're going to pulse. Gosh, nearly forgot then. Pulsing back. Little pushes away. Let's take 6, 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then lift through that top arm. Find either your foot or your shin and feel that sense of connection between the two, lengthening out the front of the thigh, lengthening in the front of the hip. Trying to tuck that pelvis slightly underneath you to get a little bit more. Okay. And then coming out of it slowly, release. All right, from here, come and lie on your front. So you're bringing yourself down to the mat. You're feeling this sense of heavy pubic bone. Let your lower back already switch off. And we're going to bring our hands, so they're stacked one on top of the other, elbows are wide, and you're going to rest your forehead on your hands. Okay. Now from here, we're just going to feel this sense. Pubic bone is traveling down, and as that happens, you're pressing your forearms into the mat, and you're just going to extend in your breastbone. Let your head lift, but also don't start to kink at the neck and look ahead of you. Eye line is just going as far as the breastbone takes it. So it won't be big at all. Thoracic movement is small, so you're not trying to do this great big back bend. And then you're releasing your head back to your hands. Same again. Pressing down, feeling that sense of the shoulder blades pulling down your back as you start to extend your breastbone forward. And then you release in your spine, let the head land, let everything shut off. Same again. Press and open. As the shoulder blades pull down the back, the breastbone travels forward. And release. Okay, one more like this. Really finding that strategy. The back of your body is resisting gravity, not your head and your neck. They just follow the path of your spine. And you release. So now I want you to imagine that your hands are glued to your forehead, okay? You're keeping your elbows wide, keeping your pubic bone heavy, and all you're going to do is simply the same strategy. So you're going to be lifting with the arms this time, still lift with the breastbone, but feel that sense of your mid-back, really working hard to get you up. And then you release back down to the floor. Head on hands, let everything go. Same again, hands come up with the forehead. You still don't lift with your head and your neck, keeping wide in your elbows. Feel that sense of your mid-back. Let's go for 2 more. Really reaching, connecting the forehead and the hands. Still think of length, not just up. And one more like this. Extending forward, and the next time you come down, let your head rest onto one side. Okay, so hopefully that got into your mid-back, which is not the most usual or common place to feel things, but you want to have had that sense of shoulder blades pulling in more than the lower back. It is common to go into the lower back, so if that's where you're at today, then fine. Just make everything a little smaller, okay? So until you build up to that idea of your thoracic moving, just keep it really small. Even if it's a slight lift away and you're feeling the connection before the lower back kicks in, and then release back down, okay? Staying on our fronts, I want you to just rest onto your right cheek and then just let your arms drape either side of your body. And if your shoulders roll slightly forward, then they roll forward. Okay, so don't worry about your posture here. It's just like when you're lying on your back, you're letting things go, you're letting bones be heavy, okay? Similar strategy here, but with the sense of the back of the arms again. So similar to those pumps of the arms that we did in chest lift. I just want you to start to reach your fingers to your toes and feel the back of your arms lift. And then you're just going to release back down again. And let the shoulders roll forward. So this time, same thing, but as you do that, can you have this sense of your shoulders spiraling out? So as you push the air up, back of the arms are alive, you're opening in the chest, okay? So naturally, what that should do is help you to go into that extension. So as the arms travel back this time, you're going to bring the head aligned up with the spine. You're coming into that little thoracic lift, but you're pushing with the back of your arms, reaching the fingers to the toes. And then as you travel back down, can you move your head so you rest on your left cheek to roll and land? Same again, reaching the fingertips to the toes, lifting the back of the arms, spiraling in the front of the chest. Let your head join in, lengthen in your breastbone. And then start to articulate in your breastbone, back down. Your arms land, you're heavy in your bones. Keep going like this. This is our dog. Check in with your glutes. Are they overworking? Are they squeezing? Similar thing, if the lower back is doing too much, make it teeny tiny, but do get that beautiful lift of the arm, the expansion in your chest. Keep switching the sides that you drop to. Last one, I want you to pause once you're up there, really sending breastbone forward. We're going to do little pumps of the arms up and up. Now every time they pulse up to the ceiling, you're thinking of expanding wider in your chest. You're thinking of pushing through the back of your armpits. Feel your triceps. We've got 8, 7, 6, 5, last 4, and 3, 2, squeeze, last one, little lift, and all the way back down. Hands come either side of your body. You're going to push yourself back into a child's pose. So bum rests on heels, walk your hands away, walk your arms away. Let the armpits lengthen, let the ribs open, let the head drop and sink between your arms. And just take a couple of deep breaths into the back of your body. Feel that expansion in your back ribs. Use your exhale to soften. Alright, okay, walk the hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself into all fours. Alright, you're going to bring your knees underneath your hips, you're bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, and you're finding that push into the floor. So already, that push is working the posterior chain. It's subtle, but you're fighting with the back of your body against gravity. And you're not giving in to gravity and letting things sag or sink, especially the lower back, the shoulder blades, the head. So I want to see this long line from the crown of your head out of your tailbone. And notice how your spine's sitting. So already I can see that I'm sticking my bum out, which is no good. So without rounding under, you want a sense of happy medium. And that should switch your core on as well, okay? We're going to do a bit of a hip opener series again, okay? So I want you to stand down into both arms, into your right shin. Keep your left leg bent, start to travel the back of the thigh up. Now check in that you haven't lost your lower back to do that, okay? From here, you're going to extend from the knee. Take the toes out long. Now check in that that hip hasn't started to externally rotate to me. You're keeping it down towards the floor. You're then going to send that leg all the way down, beyond your mat. Tap your toes. Lift straight back up from the back of your thigh. Fold at the knee. Flex at the heel. Take a little lift up to the ceiling. And then bend and just bring it in underneath you, but not down to the mat. Ready to go again. You're pushing up. You're extending out. Point through the toes. Check in with your spine. Check in with your shoulder blades. Tap the toes down. Lift the leg straight back up again. Fold, flex at your heel. Take a little lift with the back of the thigh. Can you get a little higher? And then bring that knee so it aligns up with the left side. Keep going like this, reaching up. Extend, a little quicker. Tap, lift, fold, pulse, and bring it back in. Keep going, up, extend, tap. Use all the right muscles, the back of the leg. Fold, little squeeze, and in it comes. We've got 2 more on this side. Up, extend. Keep checking in with the rest of your body. This can be tiring, and as you go through it, I don't want you to lose that sense of lift. Extend. We've got a couple more. And we're going to keep pulsing all the way up. We've got 8, 7, 6, 5. Push with the back of the thigh. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knee in. And just sit back into a high child's pose. So letting the sit bones open out. Keep your eye line forward. Now it's possible you felt that more in the stabilizing glute, which is fab and great. So don't worry if you didn't necessarily feel it in the working leg. As long as one of the glutes were holding you up, it's all good, okay? Pushing back into all fours, ready to go on the other side. So find your left shin now. It's really important that you've got that to protect your wrists. Start to extend up. Keeping that right angle. Lengthen out, hold back of the leg. Toes tap. Lift, fold behind the knee. Pulse up, and then bring the knee underneath you. And again, straight back up again. Big extension. Loads of length, loads of lift, then really fold and scoot behind your knee, heel to sit bone, little pulse up, and bring it in. Keep going like this. Use me as a visual guide if you need. There's a lot of coordination involved in this one. 2 more. Up, reach, tap, lift the whole leg, fold, lift, and this is your last one here. Up, reach. How long can that leg be? How extended can the hip be? Fold and pause. Ready for those pulses? Up and up. Check in with the arms. You've got 8, 7, 6, 5, last 4, 3, 2, 1. Down comes the leg. And let's come and face one another. Done quite a lot on the back of the legs already today, so hopefully the hips feel better for it. But we're just going to come into a glute stretch. So I'd like you to cross your your right leg underneath you, and then you're bringing your left leg up and over and finding a flat foot, ideally on the ground, okay? You're then letting both sit bones spread really wide, and you're keeping a balanced and long spine on top of your pelvis. Arms travel out to the side. You're going to rotate over to the left, then take that right arm, find that left thigh, and see if you can twist back by using that pressure of arm and leg, looking to where you can get to with your left hand. Breathe. Lifting through the right arm. Rotate over to the right now. Let this left arm come across. Find the inner leg twist to the other direction. Breathe. And come back to center. Just travel beyond your mat. Arms can stay long, but just sinking into this glute stretch. So you should feel it mostly in the left glute at this point. I don't want to see you rounding in your spine. I want you to push away and aiming to get the sit bones down and back. Using nice big inhales, and on your exhale, just letting it go. Okay, slowly walk yourself up, opening the legs, let the hips open, and let's switch sides. Crossing this right foot over. Seeing if you can get even amount of comfort as you had on the other side. It might be a little easier, it might be a little harder. Really important that your spine is long. Arms out to the side, let's travel over to the right. Take this left arm across, find the outer edge of the thigh. Twist and reach back. Make sure that that head is not getting lost in the shoulders here as well. Remember to use your breath, and then start to bring both arms back to your center. Take it to the left, cross the legs over. I do apologize for all the beeping and the noise if it's coming through. Where I'm at, there is some building works, and it doesn't seem to end. So please bear with me while this is going on. Hopefully you've been so in the session that you've not noticed anyway. I've just noticed that flashing light behind me. All right, both arms to your center. Take the hands forward. Don't round in the spine. Look after the spine as you're opening in the glutes, and you can push with your hands. And that can give you that sense of that right sit bone pushing back. Every time you exhale, see if you can just soften into it a little easier. Okay. We're going to uncross in the legs now. You're going to come around, so you're sat up tall and your feet are just in front of you, still keeping them aligned, almost like your leg down position, but you're now sitting up tall with a long spine. You're then going to reach your hands back behind you, okay? And let the spine follow that. You're not going into extension, but you're just here. If this is a lot for the wrists, feel free to slightly turn them out, or you can have the fingers running towards you, okay? From here, just like a bridge, we're going to stand down into the heels, curl pubic bone to chest, and I want you to start to lift with the back of your body. Like all fours, you're pushing evenly through hands and feet, and you're opening and extending in the front of your body. And then start to travel back down again. Find that tailbone, let the thighs drop in, and you release. Same again. Curl and lift. Watch that you don't start to drop your head back. Keep your eye line forward, keep your head aligned with your spine. Get those hips open, push and squeeze through your glutes, and then start to travel back down, making your way, heavy tailbone, and release back down. Okay, next time you're up, let's pause you at the top. Loads of length, remember, soft front, strong back, and you're just going to do these small little tricep presses, bending the elbows, and push. It's not far, it's just tiny. Really feeling the back of the arms, feeling the front of the shoulders and the chest opening up. Let's just go for 3 more. And push, don't dip in those hips. Last 2. Last 1. And press, and release, all the way back down, okay? Just a little arm challenge for you there, okay? Let's bring ourselves around, curl the toes under, push into downward dog, lengthen through the back of the legs, drop through your head, and push through the heel of your hands. If this is really hard work, focus on a long spine and soft knees. We're then going to slowly start to walk the hands back to the feet. Let your body hang over your legs, let everything go. And then stand down through your feet to roll and pull yourself back up. All the way to stand. Alright, so I'm going to do a slight adjustment of the camera now. And this is so you can see me, ooh, lovely, in a standing position. All right, so fingers crossed you get enough of me in there. Okay, so you're gonna come and stand on your mat. And let's just face your mat, doesn't matter which way, okay? You're gonna start to then squat. So you're gonna take your hands forward, make sure your feet are directly underneath your hips, so you're not in a wide squat. We're in a parallel functional seated position. And you're just going to start to soften, bending in your knees. Let your sit bones spread wide. Try not to fold at the hips and bend in the spine. Keeping upright, just letting the legs do the work. Keep the heels down, and then stand and press back up. Okay. Lowering down. Imagine you're sitting back into something. Your weight is more into your heels than it is into your toes, even though your knees are going forward. And then you stand. And you return. Keep going like this. Check in. When is that binding point where the spine feels like it needs to fold forward? Try and just keep it with you. Let it be about the muscles in the legs. Alright, let's go for 2 more like this. Really reaching through your fingertips. And stand. Last one, I want you to pause in that half squat. You're going to take your hands to your hips. And you're just going to shift your weight, keeping the half squat, you don't come out of it, into the right foot. Remember the heel more than the toes. And you're just going to start to extend that left leg back behind you. And then drag and skim the toes along the mat and pull it back in. So keep going like this. You're keeping the hips forward. You're keeping your weight back in this leg. You're keeping this sit bone wide. And you're just sliding and gliding your left toes back behind you, open at the hip, and pull it in. Now this stabilizing side has got to work really hard to keep you. Try not to bob up and down. However low you've started is however low you've stayed. Can be a bit of a balancing act, this one. So feel your core draw into your back to help keep you stable. Let's just take 2 more. I can feel the burn now. This is your scooter, if you're wondering the name. Usually done on the reformer. Whew. Bring the left foot underneath you. Stay in the half squat, come back out of it. Let the hips elongate, let that leg switch off. You might report a feeling of you feel a bit more grounded in that foot, in standing, which is great. Okay, we're going to go to the other side. You don't necessarily have to switch on your mat, I'm just going to do that so you can see. And now from here, come back into your half squat, finding that lovely straight spine. Shift the weight now into the left leg. Start to extend back with your right. And dragging it in. Notice if you've got one side less stable than the other, okay? So I'm noticing right now that my left ankle, I never rehabbed it properly after an injury, is really struggling to keep me here. So I'm gonna have to use my core a little bit more in order to keep me steady. And I don't want you to weight bear down in that right foot. I just want it to be really sliding. So all of the weight is in this left side. Keep it low. Think of everything you already know about hip opener. Pushing through the back of that right thigh to opening the hip. Let's go for another 4. Last 3. 2 more here. And last one. Loads of extension. Foot comes underneath you. A little deeper in that squat and then stand all the way up. Okay, we're approaching the end of the session. I'm hoping you felt a great deal of work in the back of your body. Now, let's just open you up. So we're just going to do a standing roll down. So classic Pilates exercise. Again, I don't want to see any hinging at the hips, spine going forward. I really want us to drape the upper body over the spine. So if you've done class every week, you'll know this now. So just starting with that lovely sense of your feet on the ground, the crown of your head lengthening away from them, and take an inhale to prepare, and on your exhale, just start to nod your chin to your chest. Turn those front ribs up and in. Remember your chest lift you've already done today. It's a similar strategy, but this time gravity's working with you. Hang over those legs. Try not to just instantly fold at the hips. Keep space at the front of the hips. Let your head be heavy. Notice where your weight is. Try and be even in the feet, so don't shift it back into your heels. And then take a big breath in at the bottom. Feel that space in the back of your body. Stand down through your feet and use that energy of the feet down to help lift you back up. Your tailbone draws down the back of your legs. You start to pull your front ribs up and in. You restack the ribs on the pelvis, the shoulders on the ribs, and then finally the head, and just let those shoulders go and be either side of your frame. And again, inhale, exhale as you soften down. Breastbone sinks back, back ribs expand wide, arms are heavy. All of that work you've done in that posterior chain, now is the time to elongate, open it all up. Really let everything go. Just check that you're not back in your heels. This isn't about a hamstring stretch. This is the whole back line of your body, right from the heels out the crown of your head, gaining loads and loads of length. And now engage in the front of your body. Feel that sense of energy lifting you up. As you restack, really feel like you're on center. And as you approach the top, let out a sigh of relief. We're all done in terms of our movement. But just for now, I just want you to notice your 2 feet on the ground, really important, those legs underneath you. Notice the rest of your body lifting up and out of your joints. So we're always having to contend with gravity on a daily basis, coming down on us. So just see if you can get that sense of lifting away. Don't give in, don't get shorter, find length. Feel that sense of connection between the back and the front of the body. Imagine the front is soft. I know you walk with the front of your body and everything's forward. Imagine it's really soft and the back is actually what's carrying you around on a daily basis. Okay, really good, everybody. Yeah, good. I hope you took something from that you might not have known before. I hope you feel worked, a little bit more strengthy than the last couple of classes. Do take time to get to know how you feel, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. And as ever, check in with me if there's anything specific that your body didn't like and you're wondering why or how to do it differently. And yes, thank you for attending.